deal does not do that.
Thank you. Sir Hugo Swire.
Mr. Speaker, no one ever said it was going to be easy. I never shared the lofty visions of the founding fathers of what was the EEC, the EC and the EU, Schuman, Adenauer, Monnet and others, and I totally understand where they were coming from in a post-war, post-consensus Europe and what they were trying to achieve. But I never shared a vision of wanting an ever closer federal set of European states, a European army. I'm pleased, as de Gaulle always knew we were going to be, that we were awkward members of the club. We maintained our own currency and so forth. But we had a failure of understanding and a failure of negotiation when my friend, the former Prime Minister, went to talk primarily to Chancellor Merkel to try and persuade her that he needed to be given something to bring back to the United Kingdom. She, I think, did not quite understand the predicament he was in. Nonetheless, during the campaign, I voted to remain. I voted to remain because I believe that the EU, with the UK as part of it, was immeasurably stronger with the United Kingdom as a moderating force. I questioned as to who would benefit from a weakened EU, and I still maintain that is Russia, and if you're living in Sweden or the Baltic states, I have no doubt you would share that view. And as a former Northern Ireland minister, I could not quite understand how we could do with the issue that I was sure would come up as to the Northern Ireland border. My constituents, Mr. Speaker, in East Devon, by a small margin, voted to come out of the EU, and I respect that view. Nationally, 1.3 million more people voted to come out of the EU, and we must respect that view. I have been perturbed and variously alarmed and horrified by the way our negotiations have been conducted over the last few months. How we could have agreed to pay a sum of up to £40 billion without securing an agreement, I do not know. And I hope my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, will look carefully at an idea of having a Brexit bond which we can pay the EU with, which is linked to the cooperation of the EU with us to ensure that our economy actually prospers. Normally, as a former Remainer, the House would expect me to endorse this vote that we are having next week, but I find that I am currently unable to do so. Why? Because of the Northern Ireland Protocol in the withdrawal agreement. I cut my political teeth, Mr. Speaker, as did my right honourable friend, the member for Mid-Sussex, who made such a good speech earlier, as indeed did you, sir, in Scotland as a Conservative Unionist candidate. I was served in Northern Ireland as a Northern Ireland minister, and you're not denying it, Mr. Speaker, but I think you did fight a Scottish seat, unless I'm entirely wrong.
Order, just stop the clock. I did in 1987, but I've not the slightest recollection of expatiating on the matter of the European Union, and certainly, by definition, I couldn't have done so on the matter of the withdrawal agreement. Sir Hugo Swire.
You did. I was just suggesting you cut your teeth there, and I think I was right in that case. And all my experience in Northern Ireland, I know the nervousness of the Loyalist community about how often they're treated by both the Northern Ireland Office and the Foreign Office, both institutions in which I have served. But I do not think we can possibly place part of the United Kingdom in a position which is different to the rest. It is an appallingly dangerous precedent. And I say to my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, who I salute for even just standing up at this stage, I say to her, I beg her, try and get us some movement on that part of the deal. If you do, you will find that there are those like me who will feel able to support it. If you do not, you will find yourself short of votes next week, because there are those of us who put the Union and the integrity of the Union above all other matters.